Welcome, guys. This is the first monthly recap for Gatekeeper Online. So I'm just going to get right into it. Initially, with the first design, we had a lot of problems, and this is before we did our presentation. So we had issues like low resolution, bad performance, laggy board turns. The game was very visually unfollowable, and there was no characters in the game. And ultimately, there's just a lot of stuff on the screen, and it was hard to know what was going on when we tried playing. That being said, the proof of concept was there. The board turns did work. There was multiplayer sync, and it was a good start so that when we gave our presentation, we knew that what we were trying to do was possible. So going into the new design following the meeting, we had some challenges. Our biggest challenges were going to be optimization, and then just board turns. And then the reason why is specifically because with the engine we're using, we were worried that the engine literally just wouldn't be quick enough or powerful enough to handle all the things that we were trying to do. So it was something we were worried about, but between optimization and board turns, pawn movement, and then also just making the game followable and creating a dynamic character system, we have quite the journey ahead of us, and so we had to basically figure out if these things were possible. Otherwise, we were going to have to use a different engine and just change the whole project, or start the project from the beginning. So we started off with board turns, because if we can't turn the board, then we can't play the game. So we started off and we tried using the in-game multiplayer object systems. These systems are really convenient, but the problem is they were not, it was very laggy, and we tried a couple variations, but no matter what we did, it would continue to lag or have issues. And so we had to create a brand new system. And so the system we created, we essentially use variables that are passed between players, and every person's computer processes those variables and systems independently, meaning that we don't actually have to my computer doesn't actually have to know what your computer is doing. All it needs to know is that the board is turning, and then my computer turns the board independently of yours. Now, this is great, but if there's ever a synchronous issue, meaning that your computer lags or my computer lags, it means that the boards can be in two different positions at the same time. And so we created a sync system that would fix this problem, at least temporarily. It's not perfect, but we also have some long-term solutions that will be implemented in the future that will keep boards from being in two different positions at the same time. So with board turns figured out, they looked really smooth, they looked really nice, we can move on to a new thing, and that would be pawns. And so pawns we were worried about because whenever they were on the board, they would lag. So we had to create a new system. And essentially what we did is we hard-coded the pawns to the board so that everyone's computer would force the pawns to be in the right positions while the board is turning. Once again, meaning smooth pawn movement. But when a character or a player drags their pawn on the screen, then it becomes a multiplayer object in which you are now watching them drag it across the screen, and you can see the same thing. So it was a very interesting solution, but ended up working really well. Next, we wanted to work on the HUD, and the HUD was going to be very interesting because like we said, there's a lot of information on the screen. We have to display it efficiently. And so I took to Dota 2 as inspiration for my HUD. So essentially, the way this HUD works is whenever you come into the game, your character and all of your information and everything that you have, your abilities, gates, mana, health, all of that stuff will be on your HUD. Now, if you want to see another player's information, rather than all that stuff being displayed onto the board, rather, if you click on their character, their information will now fill your HUD. So that way you can display a lot of complex information, and you can dynamically interact with it without having to display all at once and crowding the screen. What it also means is that when we put our characters on the screen, our pawns, we will put the characters' icons on those pawns along with their health and mana, and possibly other important information like shields or poisons. So with that being said, all the information will be very easily accessible and usable in the game. So from there, we had to actually start designing. So the first thing I did was designed a shell for the HUD. So I did that in Adobe Illustrator. That was nice. And you can see there is you can underlay things under it. And so the goal is we're going to put all of the things that go on the HUD under the HUD within the game engine. So the next thing we started working on after the shell was designed is we started working on board zoom. The reason why we did a board zoom is because if we do not have a board zoom, then the board stays kind of small on your computer screen. So with the board zoom function, you can remove the HUD from the screen and view the board. This created some challenges because as you rotate the board, different players have different perspectives. So what we did is in order to accommodate is we had to literally put invisible objects under the screen for your screen to be centered around. I know that isn't the most important information for all of you, but just know that getting the board to zoom and then also giving players their own unique perspective was a challenging thing. But we got it done and it looks good. After that, we really went into designing. So from there, the first thing I designed was the realms. I think they ended up looking pretty dang good. And there's always room for improvement. These things can always be, we can always add more skins and things like that. But I added a nice background and a nice realm design. And then on top of that, we started working on specific HUD designs. The first thing I did was work on the health bar. So we worked on the health bar and the mana bar, both of which look great. You can see them moving. And then we started working on icons. And so the icons are just for abilities. The way this will work is you will have abilities, and when you hover over them, information about what that ability does will pop up on your screen. So if you know your character, you won't have to read it, but obviously if you pick a new character, you're going to have to read the information. But when you have enough mana, that icon will glow. If you don't have enough mana, that icon will not glow. It'll be grayed out. And so that part of the design is still being worked on. But yes, the icons are looking great. We're thinking about adding new special effects, and every character's individual abilities will have their own icons. Okay, after icons, I worked on the gate icons. Gate icons are pretty cool, but it's basically just a little icon of the gate. When you have a gate, your icon will show up. We may add animations to that, but it's pretty simple. And yeah. And the last thing we have accomplished is the dragon tray system. So essentially, when you capture a dragon, it'll go into your dragon tray. This is just a way of maximizing space. You can close your dragon tray or you can open your dragon tray. So it doesn't really matter, but it's just a way of not keeping everything on the screen at the same time and decluttering the space. But it's pretty cool. It functions pretty well. And then the last thing I did after all of that is I added button animation, so you can see when you hover over certain things that are buttons, they glow. That includes the move icons. And yeah, so the game is starting to look very responsive. And going forward, we have a lot to do, creating battle systems, adding the mana counters to the actual moves themselves, sound designs, and of course the dice. And so Ryan's going to be working on the dice, and I will update you, and hopefully in the next month we will have an awesome set of new updates for you guys, along with new characters that will function in the game along with the one I have created so far. Anyway, that's all for this month. Thank you guys. Have a great day.